Hi, my name's Shane. I use they, them pronouns, and this is the seventh session of our game of Impossible Landscapes, the Delta Green campaign. This series is organised as part of the Open Hearth gaming calendar. Open Hearth is an online community that plays and discusses lots of Indian story games, things like that. You can find out more or come play a game with us at openhearthgaming.com. As you can probably see, if you've been watching these videos, a couple of our regular players couldn't make it this week. So we're going to just see what sort of trouble Sarah and Felix can get into on their own. To start us off, I'll get you both to introduce yourselves and your characters. So, Blake, do you want to start us off this week?
Sure, g'day, I'm Blake, he, him. I'm playing Felix Straussman, he, him. He's not 30, he's 50 now because we did the 20-year time jump. He's a teacher, he's no longer a professor at MIT after some minor prison incident. And yeah, so he's into physics and chemistry and teaching at MIT, and he's been married for a couple of years now. He's trying to be a better man.
Right. Thank you. And Puckett?
Hey there, I'm Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. I am joined by a kitten to be named later, and I'm playing Sarah Bradford, who uses she, her pronouns. She is from the Mayflower Bradfords, as her parents were quick to tell anyone who would listen. And it turns out her father was up to shady stuff, and her mom reacted poorly to it. And all the time she thought her mom was the one with an issue. And it turns out that her mom was doing her best to protect her from her father's sketchy involvement with Asa Darabandi, was it? You know,
Well, I don't think you found any direct evidence of a connection between your
he
father and
moved into to a house that he built. That's direct
Yes.
enough for me.
Okay. Fair.
So anyway,
All right.
so yeah.
So before we go over what's been happening, where we're at in the story, in this section of the campaign, Carcosa's influence is growing stronger. It's starting to sort of subtly reshape the world around you. And I want us to start each session by asking you something to help fill in those details of what that looks like a little bit. So our question for today that I would like each of you to answer is that, of course, children tend to be more sensitive to strange phenomena and powers than adults do. So I'd like you to tell me, what are some of the ways that children in Boston are being subtly affected by the coming of Carcosa? Blake, I'm sorry to throw you in the deep end, but can I get you to answer me first?
I think they're like when they're playing their games and skipping marbles, Nintendo, whatever they're doing, they're changing languages to languages they've never been taught or heard, as if
Yes.
they're channeling someone from other places and other times and that.
Yeah, the teachers are really confronted by the sudden influx of dead European languages in the skipping songs. Amazing, thank you, Puckett.
I mean, the obvious thing to me is that they've started rooting for the Yankees, but even that seems too far off base, no pun intended. So what I'll say is it's curious, but they all seem to have lost all interest in sports. You know, they don't care about the Bruins. They don't care about the Red Sox. You know, I mean, it's worrisome. You know, they aren't out there trying to cheer on the team. They don't care about Cracker Jack. They just absolutely don't care about sports.
Almost like they've developed an interest in some other sort of sport that adults can't perceive yet. Interesting. All right, thank you both very much. So, as we start out this week, your characters have just left the Dorchester House, a psychiatric facility in Boston with links to Delta Green. You were called in to investigate the disappearance of some former agents of Delta Green who vanished from the facility a few days ago. You strongly suspect this is somehow connected to a case you worked about 20 years ago around the disappearance of a New York poet named Abigail Wright. So far, you've learned that the missing patients had a set of delusions that seem to parallel your own experiences. that several individuals connected to the hospital share names with demons listed in the Lesser Key of Solomon or the Ars Goetia. You know that someone has been placing some suspicious flyers for a self-help group on the Dorchester notice boards, and that someone named Dr. Elias Barbas visited the hospital a number of times, sort of around the time that the missing patients started to experience a noticeable decline in their mental health. And I think that as we finished up last time, you just left the Dorchester to go to a diner to plan your next moves. And it's around mid-afternoon. I think Yelena probably goes off to study the patient files. Tara goes off to, I don't know, to do some other research or compose herself or something like that. So it's just the two of you. And before we talk about what you're going to do next, I can't help but notice that I think probably the last time the two of you were alone together was 20 years ago, just after the last time that you hooked up. And Felix, you're married now, you're trying to be a better man. How does it feel knowing that you've lied to your wife about your whereabouts and now you're alone in a diner with a woman that you used to sleep with?
Well, mixed feelings. He's had to lie about things in the past because he didn't go into super lot of detail about that time he had to go to prison for multiple assault charges. But he's tried to sort of draw a line in the sand, and everything after that point he's completely honest about. And he's not allowed to tell her about Delta Green. So it's like, well, he's got a damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. As for his feelings for Sarah, they were always confusing anyway because she's into art. And like, what is it? Is it a hobby? Is it a job? Is it serious? What is it? You know? But she's pretty and funny. So, you know, it's all a mix.
Sarah seems much more cosmopolitan, but do you have any feelings about being alone with Felix?
No, why would I?
Yeah.
I mean, we hooked up. It was just sex. I mean, you say that he slept with me. I mean, let's be blunt. It's something adults need to do from time to time. It's like scratching somebody's back or something like that. You know, sometimes there's an itch you just can't reach, and you need to get somebody else to do it for you. So, no, I'm not saying that I necessarily used Felix because I always appreciated him, but there wasn't. I don't know. From my end of things, there wasn't a whole lot of romantic intent. It was just, it's just sex.
Sure. All right.
Good sex, but still sex.
Glad to get that context. So you're sitting down at the diner over a couple of cups of coffee. What are you talking or thinking about?
How's married life, Felix?
It's good. It's normal and predictable and makes me feel nice about people in general, which sometimes work does, sometimes it doesn't. What we used to do does not make me feel that way. So it's a good constant.
You got kids, right?
I can't remember. Let me just check.
I don't think we've established whether you have kids or not. They're not bonds of yours, but you're welcome to fill them in the fiction or not.
I don't think I do. No, I didn't do that. I've got like a protege who's 28 and is happy to debate metaphysics at length or whatever, but yeah, it's not like kids. So no kids.
I mean, that's kind of good, I guess.
Yeah, this is messy enough without that.
I mean, this isn't something for people who have kids. I'm just.
No,
I feel bad you got
for Tara with that in that regard.
I'm just sorry you got dragged back into this after all this time. I mean, Elaine and I kind of. Well, we kept digging.
Yeah, I mean, I was digging as well in my own way, and I still think maybe we could help other people or even Abigail, but it is messy.
I mean, I don't know if I'm lucky or unlucky that my partner and I are in this together, literally and figuratively. I mean, Felix, if something goes wrong, I'm not sure I'm going to make the right decision. I mean, the Delta Green decision is save the mission, accomplish the mission, etc. And my goal is make sure at least Yelena gets out. If and I'd probably try for both of us. I just want to have a nice, boring life. Is that too much to ask?
For some people, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen, and that may be us, I'm afraid. I get it. You want to look after Yelena. She's pretty cool. Had a bit of a crush on her for a while myself. Obviously, I didn't want to talk to you about it previously because it would be even more awkward.
Well,
but she's pretty cool.
Look, I can totally understand having a crush on Yelena. She's smart. I mean, she speaks lots of languages. She's incredible. But
I am honestly happy you two made each other happy. That's all cool. Have you tried this croissant?
And I look at my coffee and I say, this is Felix. I've had some bad coffee in my life. This is shit. This tastes like they just put some brown food coloring in water and threw some dirt at the bottom of the pot.
It's a shame these croissants are nice, but all right, well.
We didn't come here for coffee.
No. So what is our next move? Go and chat to the doctor, what's his name?
Barbas,
yeah.
That or go to that fucking group. I don't know. Maybe I seem damaged enough to go to the group. Maybe they'd find me more effective.
You could probably pull it off better than I could, but yeah, it depends. What time-wise? Is the group meeting tonight or tomorrow night or?
So just to answer that, according to the flyer, they meet Tuesdays, and according to my Googling of what day September 1st was in 2015, that was a Wednesday, so it's almost a week away, but okay. I think we can just be flexible with the timeline, especially since there's only two of you. If you want to say that there's a meeting on tonight to go to, we can do that.
So, how about this? How about we go chat with the doctor? And then you can be the guy in the van while I go to the meeting, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we ought to be able to get an earpiece or something like that from Delta Green, or something that'll allow you some kind of mic we can hide on me. I mean, it's 2015. Spy tech shit is pretty easy to come by at this point. Like, yeah. I could go buy a pair of cosmetic glasses with a camera in them. Just Wi-Fi shit.
Just to be clear, you have a name for the doctor, but you don't have any contact information for him at this point.
Yeah, but we have smartphones and Google because it's 2015.
Yeah. So while we're there, we can sort of try and do some looking. Like, is this the guy? No. Is this the guy?
So if you Google Dr. Elias Barbas, you will find his details pretty easily. What you find is that he is a member of the Boston Police Department. In fact, he is the director of forensic science for the Boston State Police. Has been for about 8 years, and I guess LinkedIn probably tells you he had a long sort of career with the police department before that.
He's a fucking statey. Well, this will be less pleasant than I thought. I've got my phone out. I'm going to take a picture of the coffee, and I'm going to start tapping away on my phone. And if you follow me on Twitter, Felix, you're going to have a notification pop up saying this is the absolute worst coffee I've ever had. Hashtag diner name.
Yeah.
Hashtag do better.
dear. Okay.
So, how do you, Felix, how do you feel about talking to the cops? Again, after all this time.
Yeah, I don't mind. This guy's not really a cop. He's a...
The fuck he isn't. He's a statey.
Yeah,
He's
but he's not walking the beat, you know, telling off people for sidewalking or whatever. Yeah, we'll be fine. We'll
Just in case, I've got my lawyer on speed dial.
Have we still got like fake fiddle agent badges or whatever as part of DG? Nope.
Nope.
Shit.
We are just random ass civvies. No credentials, nothing.
Okay. So before we go and talk to him, maybe we should think about how we're going to approach it in terms of what.
I mean, it definitely seems to me like Sarah probably still has some contacts who could produce credentials, but that's going to take at least a little time.
Yeah.
I will happily reach out to the counterfeiters I know. I mean, excuse me, wholly legitimate brokers of printing services who do not have anything in their back room. It's just like paper supplies and stuff.
I mean, we can do the concerned relative asking around about
We're not going to get the details we need though, because they're not going to talk shop with people who are just concerned relatives. They're going to pat us on the head and say they're there. You know, the case is open. We'll keep looking. If we have credentials, usually professional courtesy and law between law enforcement agencies says they'll tell us what they know.
All right, well, it might be an idea to start the order on the fake IDs in case we need them later, and we probably will.
All right.
So, according to the rules, basic forged documents are an unusual expense, which means you can pay for them. It's a bit stressful. It reduces one of your bonds by 1 point to pay an unusual expense. Or high quality forged documents are a major expense. So you get to roll either an int by 5 or a counting test, and then the amount that your bonds are reduced by depends on your success or failure on the roll. Do you want to go for just basic forged documents, or do you want something high quality?
I want a fucking legend that'll hold up. So, unfortunately, I want high quality documents.
All right. So make your choice of an int by 5 or an accounting test.
I think I got to go int by 5 because my accounting is 10%. So, let's see. 1D 100.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. That is 74 over 70.
All right.
So 79 over 70.
On a failure, this is going to hurt a little. Reduce one of your non-delta green bonds by 1d4 and the others by 1.
So all others by 1?
Yeah. I mean, you only have 2 non-delta green bonds, so one of them's going down by 1d4 and one of them's going down by 1.
Alrighty. Run D4. Come on, give me a 1. Instead, that's a 3.
And that's your crooked art dealer friend, right? So, I mean, that makes sense.
That's the guy who's, he's got a, because he knows, well, shit, I was a counterfeiter for him. I just counterfeited art. So this is a guy who has to counterfeit paperwork that'll pass customs inspections around the world, the works. So he's got the goods.
All right. So I think that doing some paperwork, getting photos taken, stuff like that to set up the documents to look good is probably going to take the rest of the afternoon. So we're rolling into early evening. I'm not sure how long we would expect decent quality forged documents to take. Maybe we'll say make a luck roll, and on a success it'll be 24 hours, and on a failure it'll be 48 hours. How does that sound?
I was going to say it's going to take at least a day or 2. So it sounds fine to me, but I'm also okay with just saying straight up it takes 48 hours because they have to create like a legend. They got to throw up some web pages, some resumes, shit like that. make it look like the person's been around a while.
Well, I mean, you've strained your relationship with Merrick enough that you've maybe put some pressure on him to get it done quickly. So why don't you
Okay.
make a luck check and we'll see if it can get done in a day.
All
So
right.
calling
So
high or low?
1D100. High.
All right, so looking for over 50. There you go.
Oh,
So it's only they're gonna be
79.
able to get it done by tomorrow night.
I probably had to promise him that I'll do a couple of pieces, but it's been a while.
All right. And I'm going to assume that we're getting the IDs for all four of you, not just the two of you.
Yeah.
That seems to make the most sense.
Yeah, when Tara gets back and Yelena gets back, they're going to be surprised because suddenly they're going to have new names and pictures and all sorts of fun shit.
All right. So it's going to be until tomorrow before you get the IDs. Is there anything that you want to do in the meantime? Or are you just going to sort
Well,
of spin your wheels until then?
you said the meeting was tonight.
Yeah, might as well
So,
go along. Well, I can go in with you. I just, I'm here for you. I'm your support person that I've come to the meeting with. You can do most of the talking, sort of thing.
okay. So I can lean on you, all right. But I still want to have the glasses with the camera in them. So is that another unusual expense?
I don't know. How much do you think that costs? Let's have a look. The
In Google
I mean,
Glass at the time was like, I think it was a few $100.
So we have so it's more than an incidental expense. I guess it's either a standard, meaning substantial expenses that could pose a challenge, or unusual, meaning expensive enough to cause trouble for you you've bought out of pocket. What do you think?
All right, so just doing a quick search on Google, it looks like you can pick them up for relatively inexpensive, like 40, $50.
Okay. I mean, in that case, let's just say it's an incidental expense,
Okay.
which means you just get it.
I will add that to my equipment list.
All right. So the meeting is being held in the sort of basement meeting room at a local church, probably on the outskirts of the city, getting into the suburbs. There's only a few cars in the parking lot by the time you get there. And as you come into the church, there are kind of signs for encounter group, and you find that there's a person sitting at a little card table by the front door, wearing a paper mache mask of an expressionless white face and a long silver robe. The silver robe looks familiar. The paper mache mask looks familiar.
And are we far enough that they're going to away that they're going to hear us, or are we close?
You tell me.
I'd like to at least be far enough away that I can bump to Felix. Like, didn't we find that shit in the McAllister building, or in whatever was expanded beyond?
Yep. Yep, and a bot.
That's worrisome.
No, it was in where the 4 people went missing. It was in one of their rooms, wasn't it? Because I put it on
Point
into
being,
the yeah, it's still.
yeah, it was still there and associated with it.
And then do you head in?
Yeah, I'm not turning back at this point.
All right. So the person in the mask and robe, as you come in, reaches under the card table and hands each of you an identical white paper mache mask from a box under the table.
Thank you. Do you mind me asking what the masks are for?
There's a sort of strange pause, and then he says, "You know what they're for," and reaches back into the box and takes out a pair of silver robes that he also hands to the two of you. and sort of makes a gesture
and
for you to
shrug.
put this stuff on.
Yeah. And I'll just put the robe on and put the mask on.
Felix, what about you?
Yeah, why not? I've worn them before.
All right. So the three of you now look identical. And he says, all right, the stairs are that way. Head down to the meeting room. They'll be getting started soon.
I will head down the stairs.
It just feels like normal fabric. It doesn't feel odd, or does it make my skin tingle or anything?
I mean, it's like a cheap sort of polyester type material.
Okay, cool.
Nothing strange about it. The mask maybe feels, I mean, almost still damp, like the paper mache hasn't quite dried.
Oh, okay.
Gross.
So in the meeting room, you'll see that there's a circle of chairs with like 8 people sitting in the chairs already, all of them dressed exactly like the two of you. Some of them seem to be like chatting, but nothing in particular is going on.
How many chairs are there?
A dozen.
And you said there's 10 people already there?
I think I said 8.
Okay. I'll look at Felix, shrug, and look for 2 open seats so we can sit next to each other.
Yeah, that's definitely viable.
Is there like a table with coffee and pastries on it or anything?
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
So it kind of looks like a support group meeting.
Yeah, definitely. Apart from the strange robes, it looks exactly like an AA meeting or something like that.
Any strong perfumes or deodorants we pick up, or it's all pretty neutral smell-wise?
Nothing in particular. The so as the second of you takes a seat, a gong sounds. You can't tell where the gong is. One of the figures speaks and says, "Say the things we cannot say elsewhere." And then in this kind of like, what do you call it, call and response type arrangement, most of the people in the circle respond, "Truth leads us." And this sort of exchange carries on. Find ourselves and know ourselves. Truth makes us. Become the rulers of our own lives. Truth frees us. Say what you will. And the gong sounds again, and the lights go out. It's completely dark. And you can hear people start to get up and move around you. What do you do?
I'm going to stay where I am because I don't know what the hell's going on and I can't see anything.
Felix?
I'm probably going to tense up, but I'm just listening.
Okay. So as your eyes adjust to the darkness, you can both see that the figures in the circle are moving like pretty quickly, shifting around the seats that they're sitting in. One of them is gonna like walk up to you, Felix, and a woman's voice is gonna say, "That's my chair. Please, you can't just sit," and almost like tug on your robe to try and move you so she can sit down.
I'll say I'm sorry in German and then go and sit in one of the spare seats.
All right. So after a few moments, everyone is sat back down again, and the lights come back on. You can see, people. The same number of people are sat around the circle, but obviously now that you've moved, you don't know which figure in the circle is each of you. Well, each of you doesn't know where your partner is. One person in the circle, maybe Felix, you think it's probably the same woman who asked you to move from her chair. Speaks. She says, "If you open a door just right, I mean, if you really know how to open a door, there's always another door on the other side. I didn't buy it at first, but after he showed me, I mean, wow." And then someone else speaks and says, "Well, has anyone else noticed the people on fire? I mean, people just like not screaming or anything, but just walking down the street with smoke pouring from their mouth and eyes. No? Oh, just me. Is it just me? And so it continues on like this. Various figures in the circle sort of each speaks briefly. Each only speaks once. All of their remarks are similarly strange and cryptic. One of them mentions that they saw their bottle last night. I saw my bottle in a dream, but I know it's real. You find it and you open it, and it tells you things. You hear someone mutter something at that, but you're not quite sure what.
I'll say, is that in the Whispering Maze?
When you like ask a question of one of them, there's like an awkward silence falls across the whole group. And someone will speak up and say, "I'm sorry, sir, did you want to share with the group?"
My memory is hazy on this, but I'll say I was looking at a painting and there was like a frame that showed what wasn't contained in the picture. I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Roll 1d4 for me. You're going to regain 2 points of resilience. You feel a sort of weight lifted off you as you start to share about your experiences with this group.
I've never been so suspicious about feeling better in my life.
Someone else speaks up and says, well, I dreamt about this stuff last night again. They call it patsu. It's like a liquid, I guess, like red, like blood, but more like a cooking grease. And it's made from secrets. It comes and goes like a tide. If you swallow it, I think you go there too. Sarah, do you share anything during the meeting?
If when the meeting falls on, I say, I'll share, but I'm new here. I saw the flyer and, well, I've lost a lot in my life. And it seemed like maybe I could find something here, something new, something to help regain who I am or find out who I'm supposed to be. I feel kind of like a shell walking around sometimes. Like I'm empty and just looking for something to fill me up. I know what you're talking about with bottles and dreams and things like that, but it sounds like you're finding out about who you're meant to be, and I guess that's what I'm looking for.
Can you roll 1d4 as well? And you're going to similarly just feel energized by speaking here. Right.
Apparently really energized.
4 points of resilience. And I think you're probably the last speaker. So as you finish, the lights change again. This time, the circle of chairs itself remains illuminated, but the lights outside the circle are turned off. So the room is just in darkness beyond the circle. And you see a hand reach in from the darkness and tap someone on the shoulder. That person gets up and leaves, and you hear them sort of walk away up the stairs. And that continues. People leaving one by one as this hand reaches in and taps them on the shoulder. And unless you intervene, you two will be the last two who are tapped in that way. And then, all right, doesn't sound like either of you are intervening, so everyone else files out upstairs.
No, I don't know enough yet. We need to know more.
Yeah, same.
And then, yeah, the same thing happens to each of you. Sarah, you're tapped on the shoulder. And then, well, do you get up to leave, or what do you do?
I'll look at. Can I see the person attached to the hand?
No, they're in complete darkness.
Okay. Say,
Is it like a comforting sort of pat, or is it like a poke, or?
It's just like a signal, like someone gently taps you on the shoulder.
Okay.
say, am I supposed? Where am I supposed to go now?
The hand will point in the direction, like reaching up from your shoulder, so it's still in the light. Point in the direction of the stairs.
And I'll get up and kind of hesitantly look around in the darkness, and then start kind of fumbling toward the light.
All right. And then Felix, a couple of moments later, the hand taps you on the shoulder.
I was kind of expecting it. Can I kind of pat the hand as a sort of cheers, thank you? Sort of?
Sure.
Was it gloved or?
Yeah, some sort of glove.
Okay.
And then do you go?
I might sit and listen to the room for a couple of seconds, and then I'll get up and leave.
Okay. So the two of you meet back up upstairs. You can see that people have sort of, folded up their robes and masks and placed them back into the box under the card table. Cars are starting up and driving away in the parking lot. What do you do?
Do any of them sort of look at us, or they were just sort of avoiding contact, or?
Nobody's particularly nobody's either looking at you or avoiding looking at you. People are just like leaving in a normal way, I guess. Well, as normal as it could get in this circumstance.
I'm trying to look at every single license plate with the camera that's in my glasses. We can at least get so like we can track down through the people through DMV and talk to them and whatnot.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Do I need to roll for that, or?
I think you've got the glasses. We set that up, so I think you can just do it. I don't think there's really a skill for taking photographs. But why don't you make an int by 5 check for me to see if you realize something?
Both of us or just Sarah?
Just Sarah.
25 under 70, I think it is. So yes.
Okay, you've seen one of these cars before. It was in the parking lot of the Gateway Bridges restaurant where the others met with Agent Exeter.
Interesting. Did I notice anything about the gait or the walk of the person getting into that car?
I don't think so. Nothing particularly distinctive.
Did I hear anything unusual?
No.
Okay.
Well, actually, make an alertness check. Sorry, both of you can make an alertness check.
It is 46. What's my alertness? My alertness is 29. So I get to roll that
as well. 23 under 80.
Okay. So Felix, you asked about smells before, and the basement, it was quite a smelly environment, right? Like it's a bit like musty old basement smell, but also like there's some air freshener or whatever that's trying to cover that up. But you think underneath all that, you maybe also smelled petrol or oil. Just like when you met Agent Exeter at the restaurant the other day.
makes me wonder if one of these people is either him or someone that was with him, and therefore Delta Green people seeking help from a cult that Delta Green want us to investigate. Which is dodgy as. Okay.
Visitor.
Sorry, Puckett, did you say something? I think you cut out a little bit.
I said I would not put it past Exeter. So, Felix, are we talking about this in the car on the drive away?
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm telling you what I realized.
Okay. So yeah, there's a smell as well that I noticed from when we met Exeter. There's some sort of petrol oil smell, which is odd.
Are we actually working for Delta Green at this point, or is Exeter just off on his own? Is this actually a Delta Green op even? Or are we working for whoever? I mean, has Exeter been compromised?
Or perhaps we're a diversion or something. We're a diversion to make it look like he's doing his job, but he's not. He's further in whatever he's gotten involved in. Yeah, which I guess comes back to he's been compromised. Not necessarily deliberately. Okay. Right. That doesn't change the fact we're still supposed to find these 4 missing people who may not also be compromised.
Well, I think it kind of raises the question of, are we actually working for Delta Green? Are those people even missing? Are those people, you know,
do we know, and I'm asking Sarah, do we know, is Marsha, her name was Marsha, wasn't she?
Yeah, Agent
is she
Marsha.
retired? Can we get in contact with her?
So I think that I mean, because Felix, you stayed relatively active with Delta Green, right? There definitely was like something that happened sort of around the year 2000 or so where a lot of personnel you'd had contact with at Delta Green changed or stopped communicating. So I don't think that well, maybe you have an old phone number for Marsha, but as far as you know, she's no longer active with Delta Green.
Felix, I think we got to hit up your contacts and find out if this is actually legit.
Okay.
And I know Delta Green operates in cells, but we need to know.
Yeah, I guess we can try Marsha.
God damn it. This just got a lot more complicated than it already was complicated.
Yeah, I guess I can leave a message for Marsha and say, this is Flicker. I wanted to catch up for a drink. How you doing? I was just in town.
Oh, interesting. I mean, you probably have some other Delta Green contacts, like handlers you've worked with or things like that, who are more active. Do you want to go back to Marsha, or do you want to contact someone who's sort of more active with the program?
I've got a feeling we should go to Marsha, and I'll say that to Sarah.
I think we should at least start there. Yeah. I mean, she's the one who handled the original case. I mean, maybe we need to talk to somebody who's more involved, but I think Masha's at least where we start.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we'll leave a message with her first. Just say.
All right. So the voicemail that you get through to doesn't include the name Marsha or anything like it. I think it just beeps and allows you to leave a message. You know that Marsha was also always very cautious, verging on paranoid about information security, so not totally surprising. And you So you leave a message asking her to call you back. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's definitely, you're not going to get a call back right away. It's like, I don't know, 8 or 9 p.m. by this point. Do you want to call it a day, or is there anything else that you want to do instead?
Yeah, I think maybe call it a day. Anything else might make it worse.
Yeah. Do we actually are we set up in a motel or anything like that? Or are we just like staying at our residences? Or, and
Well,
obviously I know Felix can't, but
yeah, I think we established that Tara and Felix both were going to stay away from their families, so presumably do have hotel accommodation. I'm not sure what you and Yelena want to do. I don't think we established that.
I'm probably just staying at my place because I don't want to spend $80 on a motel.
Makes sense.
And I mean, honestly, I think we would have offered like at least couch space to Felix and Tara. So
Yeah, that'll do.
All right. Well, we're coming up on the hour, so maybe it makes sense to take a 10-minute break here. I mean, we talked about a shorter session. Maybe it does make sense to wrap here and pick up next week, but maybe we'll take a 10-minute break and then we can think about whether there's other stuff you want to do today or whether we should call it here. Does
okay,
that make sense?
works for me.
All right. So I'll see you in 10.
Right. I spent the entire break taking pictures of the kitten.
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
Yeah, I'm trying not to move because he seems to be sleeping right now. So
Well, that's kittens and puppies and babies. It's full speed or it's nap.
Yeah, and he spends a lot more time at full speed than other kittens that I've dealt with, to the point that he is tiring out 2 grown-ass adults. So, so Shane, you were talking. Well, yeah.
Well, yeah. So I guess I guess it's up to you. What do you want to do here? So do you want to wait for the others to get back? Was that a good place to leave off, or do you want to continue your investigations the next morning?
Did you want to do a scene about picking up the false documents?
Well, I think we established that was going to be like tonight, so you've probably got a full day of investigating ahead before you get to that.
Okay.
We got to find this doctor, don't we?
Well,
we don't actually know where he is.
We Googled him.
Yeah.
You know where he is, right, Shane?
Well, you've got a LinkedIn profile. You know that he works for the forensics department at the state police, but I don't think, I mean, Google's not going to get you a home address or anything like that.
Do we want to talk to him at work?
I don't think we want to talk to him without the fake ID, so we kind of got to wait for them anyway.
Yeah. And honestly, given our suspicions about Exeter, I think maybe the most that I would feel comfortable doing is like hitting up Felix's Delta Green contacts to make sure that this is, as far as they know / can tell, legit. Since we have suspicions at this point.
So Felix, what's the name that you use to contact? Like, who's your contact at Delta Green?
I'm just going to say Bart.
All right. So you call Agent Bart, and what do you say?
I just want to. We're on a mission, and I just wanted to confirm we're on a mission from. It's legit. We haven't been asked by some rogue agency or something.
So I think Bart will find that a bit strange, and say, "What's the nature of the operation?"
Find 4 missing people.
Does the operation have an official code name?
Does it?
Yeah, it's Operation India Moon. Well, is what
India
you've been told
Moon.
anyway. So he will ask you for details, and
I
and
mean, I
say,
can allude to things without going into detail, can't I? Without putting a price on my head.
yeah, so you let him know that it's about looking for some missing Delta Green agents from a hospital. Does that
Yeah,
seem
yeah.
like what you tell him?
Not say who or where, but yeah.
Do you mention Exeter?
I think I will, but I'm like,
Yeah, because he'll
if you're
definitely ask
listening for like a
who's
tonal
the
change or something.
yeah, he'll definitely ask who the case officer is if you don't volunteer it. He'll say,
Yeah.
"Look, I don't know anything about this. I'll look into it and get back to you as quickly as I can." Do you have any? Is there a reason to suspect that this is not an official operation?
Yeah, Exeter had a certain smell to him, and one of the places we showed up to investigate had that smell, and I'm like, it's just too odd.
And the car.
And also, his car was at both places.
All right. Well, if you think it's possible that a Delta Green case officer has become corrupted somehow, you should take a special care in your investigations.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hopefully I'm wrong, but I just thought I'd rather check. You've always seemed legit to me, so
All right. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
cheers.
It'll probably take, I don't know, an hour for him to call you back. Is there anything that the two of you are going to be doing in the morning other than waiting for a return call?
Finding better coffee. Not difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure that by 2015, Boston had decent coffee somewhere.
Maybe.
Hey now. Yeah, I think there's like there's a cafe like a couple blocks away from where Elena and I live in walking distance. So maybe walk down there.
I'm keeping alert because part of me is expecting like a hitman to come through and shoot us with a silencer while keeps walking or some shit. Because I'm just have this stuff running through my head because I'm like, could my ex, recruiter be
Is
working
it
for Exeter?
noticeable?
Or yeah, he would be agitated and nervous.
And I'll just kind of say, Felix, listen. If they're going to kill us, we're not going to see it coming. Like, you can stay as you can stay as alert as you want, but if it's going to happen, it's just going to happen. And if I'm worried about the weird stuff, like infinite hallways and shit like that. I'm not concerned about somebody putting a bullet to the back of my head. That's not something I can really do much about. If Delta Green decides to clean up, they do it very well. And honestly, they wouldn't do it here. Not in the morning, walking down a city street. I mean, look, and I'll start pointing out like the security cameras in shop windows as we walk past. There's going to be way too much evidence, even for Delta Green to clean up. And think about think about all the times that Tara yelled at me about, we're not burning this building down. Here's all the reasons why. Look at all the ways that it'd be investigated. What do you think this would be? Messy.
Did you ever think she treated you like a little sister? She's kind of trying to get you under her wing, sort of thing, keep you safe from the big nasty world. That's how I always thought of it.
If she was, that just kind of cracks me up because last time I checked, most of the stuff that I was doing, anytime I made a piece of art like that, it was at least one felony, if not two or three. Hell, might have been money laundering in there too. I mean, some of the stuff I know went overseas. I didn't ask too many questions about it, but it could have been somebody overpaying for something they knew was a fake to try to clean up some money that they could then get back, with 10% off the top or whatever.
There's no shame in monetizing your hobby. That's all good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I saw it. That probably went to Merrick, but
yeah,
like with the amounts of money we were talking about, it always, if that's what was going on, it kind of cracked me up because here you've got a firefighter trying to protect like a little sister kind of thing. I mean, Felix, you and I are both felons. The only difference is you got caught.
Oh, I feel special now.
Well, I mean, you were a lot more obvious about it than I was, and the stuff that I
Yeah,
was doing wasn't
I was.
running around Boston Commons punching people, for fuck's sake.
Well, it was in the parklands, but yeah, I wasn't in a good state of mind.
Well, and honestly, after that thing, I can understand that. I mean, there's no shame in that. You know, you could have called me, right? I would have picked
Yeah.
up. I would have answered. I would have
Oh,
listened.
I know. I don't. I do this to help people, and I didn't want to be a burden. Maybe I picked up that habit from Tara.
Fuck. Look, everybody needs some help sometimes. There's no shame in reaching out.
Well, I was glad you all came to the wedding. It was a point upwards to move up from, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it turned out okay for you, and I'm glad about that. But I wish you'd called Yelena, called me during your rough spots. I mean, you were always at least something of a friend to me. You know, I always liked you. I mean, I tend not to have people with sex that I like, with people that I
Well,
dislike, you know. I mean,
um,
in thinking about it, I did have sex with people I didn't like a couple times, but I didn't know that I didn't like them at the time. They just turned out to be assholes. But,
yeah.
you know, you were always kind of nice and helpful. And yeah. I need to pause for just a couple of seconds because kitten.
Yeah, no problem.
So
Or
I'll be right back.
all right. So Felix will try the food at this cafe. I think he's a croissant guy. He's like, if I've got a good croissant, he'll come back.
I mean, I assume that if Sarah's gone to the trouble of finding somewhere that has good coffee, they probably have decent pastries as well. So it's probably a pretty decent croissant.
Generally good. He's yes. Okay. Yeah. So his message. So Felix's message. Initial recruiter Marsha and recent recruiter Bart.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You also have that like satellite phone for contacting Delta Green that Agent Exeter gave you. I don't know if you want to try that.
I'm not sure I want to contact him yet. I think I'd want to chat with Elena and that first and try and
Sure.
see.
I mean, that phone doesn't go to Exeter himself. It's just a phone that he
Okay.
gave the group to contact Delta Green.
Okay. No, I'll see what Bart comes back with first. Did any of the other two mention working with Exeter before, or none of us have met him before?
No, none of you had worked with him before, but I think the others hadn't worked for Delta Green in quite some time. So Felix, Bart calls you back. He says, I don't want you to be too alarmed about this. Command structures can be complicated, but I have not been able to confirm that Operation India Moon is an officially sanctioned operation. I would like to bring you and your team in for a complete debriefing 11 p.m. tomorrow night at the Trivellino Mall. I'll text you the address and details.
So he's going to meet us in a mall and public place with lots of security and stuff. Okay, that's probably a good sign. Okay.
I'm sorry, did you say 11 p.m.?
He'll get off the phone, but having given that message. But yeah, the details are 11 p.m. on the 3rd of September at Trivellino Mall. If you do some Googling, you'll see that's about 50 kilometers southwest of Boston. And let's see. Yeah, I mean, a quick Google just shows you a regular mall in the suburbs.
Weird that he said so late.
Yes.
I mean, Masha always met us during what amounted to normal business hours.
Yeah, that's odd.
You remember what I said about Delta Green making sure that it's clean?
Yeah. Just not sure whether this is to help us or this is to get us out of the way. But that doesn't.
Did you tell him who was on the team?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So let's leave Yelena and Tara out of this. You and I'll go.
The debriefing is set for tomorrow night, so you've got 2 full days before you get to that, really.
So we need the docs for Barbas. We need to apparently get our affairs in order just in case. Do you have a will, Felix?
Yes. It's just everything to my wife. That's it.
There you go.
Which
Good way
is
to
a
handle it.
3-story house in Boston. It's not nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right. Well, what else is there that we can do without the team, considering that we don't want to put them in danger?
Yeah. But I mean,
You know
I
what?
didn't even mention you. We could both go in or whatever, and well, I mean, I could go in and you could just keep me cover, keep an eye out.
What do you think I am, a sniper or something like that? I learned how to use a sidearm. That's about it. It's like, I can hit something at 20, 30, 40 yards. I mean,
Well,
I'm not a bad shot, but it's not like it's something that yeah. But you know what we can do? We can track down those license plate numbers.
we need the IDs for that, fake IDs for that
No,
first.
we can just Felix, you can Google just about anything. You can do reverse number lookups, right? Like, we could just punch in the number that you used to call Agent Bart and see who the number is. We could just Google that shit.
All right, well, do your Google stuff. I'm not a computer guy. Okay.
So I think it'll be a computer science role to get information about the license
All right.
plates.
42 under 60.
All right. So you get a list of addresses where the vehicles are registered and who they're registered to. 2 names stand out to you. Well, actually, no. Let's say 1 name stands out to you, and that is Elias Barbas owns one of the cars.
Well, ain't that cute?
So now you have his home address as well.
I still want the papers before we go talk to him. What about the other addresses? Anything interesting about any of them? Are there any names that, are they people of prominence?
So assuming that you're doing some Googling and things like that to find out what you can about these people, there's no particular, pattern or anything like that you can identify. But let's see. One of the names does stand out to you. That is, sorry, bear with me for 1 sec. One of the cars is registered to a man named Reginald Nabirius, and you recognize Nabirius as another name from the Lesser Key of Solomon.
Felix, what the fuck is up with these demon names that keep popping up? Bale was in the hospital.
Hmm.
Here's
Is it
another.
deliberate aliases, or they're just born with those names and somehow Carco's was reaching out to them because of that?
Look, it's
Or both?
look, once is coincidence, two is happenstance, three is a pattern, right? We've got a
Hmm.
pattern at this point. I mean, there was that nurse name in the hospital that was also a name from the Gosha. Now there's this. So we've got a patient, a nurse, and some rando from a cult meeting.
But
All of them.
you chatted to that demon guy with the snake.
Yeah, person. Yeah.
Is it possible he's like pulling the strings to lure you in as an apprentice? This is,
Look, you know how Tara feels about demonology. But Tara's not here. So how do you feel about demonology?
I mean, I would think we would try it if it's like an emergency or something. I didn't think we were in that dire situation yet.
Oh, no, we're not in a dire situation yet. But if we get into a dire situation, I don't know that I'm going to have the time to do the ritual that's required.
So you're thinking asking some questions, or but does
Maybe
that
even
mean
round up some reinforcements.
uh
I mean, remember, some of these members of the Gosha command legions in hell, which kind of makes me wonder why Solomon was fucking around with them. But
So I mean, what if we're meeting some of their legions?
well,
Like,
I'll put it to you this way: I don't think any of these demons are Carcosan of origin, so they may have a vested interest in making sure that this place does not become Carcosa. They might not care at all, but still.
but if we're already on the 6th floor, etc., maybe Carcosa is just Earth with the sunglasses pulled off. We can see what's really here.
I mean, you got the metaphor of they live completely backward, but I mean, I see your point.
I posted a link in the chat if you want to, that has the details of each
Demon
of the
Web
demons.
101, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is wildly difficult to sort through at any, like, at these points.
I can tell you what it says about Nibirius if you're interested. Or
well, I just found a useful one. Well, not for this exact second, but Nibirius is the most valiant Marquis of Hell. 19 legions infernal heareth and obeys imperious orders. He maketh men cunning in all arts, but especially rhetoric and the overcoming of rivalries. Through the discourse of his hoarse voice, he restoreth lost dignities and honors. God damn it, is that why we felt better, Felix? Appeareth as a three-headed dog or a raven, each fond in contention with the other. Raucous character measureth as tall as his eloquence and amiability. He teacheth the art of gracious living. So, on the bright side of things, if I invoke Malthus, just in case we need some backup, Malthus has 26 legions. So, and he's Hell's own armorer. He sends legions in battle or places designated by higher commanding demons. If
Not comforting if we piss him off, though.
Look. I don't want to piss anybody off, but needs must, right? I mean, for all we know,
I kind of think, let's meet with Bart, see how that goes. If it goes badly, then we've got the demon option.
if we meet Bart and we need the demon option, we're not going to have it, is what I'm saying. Because it takes an hour or two to do this stuff. I mean, and that's if I rush it. You know, it's not like I can just like snap my fingers and, hey, here's a demon with 26 legions ready to back us up if Delta Green wants to put a bullet through our heads.
All right, so say we summon a demon. What are we doing? Are we trying to get information? Are we going to say, hey, protect us? What?
How about yes? I mean, all the demons do different things. So, you know, I don't know that we necessarily need to summon person, but you know, Bale might be interesting.
But what if
He's
it's
got
just that guy
66
from the
legions.
hospital?
Yeah. But oh, this is fun. He can make you invisible and sometimes he appears like a cat.
Hmm.
He speaks hoarsely. It's his character which is used to be warned as a lawman before him, who calleth him forth, or else he will not do the homage. What was the other demon name we found at the hospital?
Samagina.
That was okay. There it is. And then there's Samagina, Great Marquis of Hell, reigns over 30 legions. Why do they all speak with hoarse voices? He teacheth all liberal sciences and giveth account of dead souls that died in sin. He is depicted as an ass and then takes a human shape of either sex at the request of his master. I mean, honestly, if he's the Duke of Hell that reigns over liberal sciences,
Yeah, you can't trust
might.
him.
Oh, shut the fuck up, you math ass. I was sitting here thinking that he might actually like it because of all the forgeries that I did, like all the art that I put into the world.
It would certainly be easier for you to have a rapport with him than me, but
that's because you're a math ass.
Yeah, that's true. So, yes, we can do this, but why are we doing it? So we're just going to get some information or something. Are we that desperate for information at this point, or?
Honestly, I'm thinking about it just as protection, because Bart's request was weird. Masha always went. I mean, when you met with Bart, where did you meet and when? Have you always met with him and approaching the middle of the night at a place
Was he a nightclub guy or what was he?
Make a luck roll.
9.
Wait, you got to call high or low before you roll.
Oh, sorry. High.
So do it
again. 25. So.
All right. So yeah, he's always met with you at night. So there's nothing that stands out about this.
Sweet.
Request.
Yeah, he was either a night guy. I think he likes the cloak and dagger, long coat side of things.
Great. So he's doing cosplay at the same time. All right. If this is normal, I'll chill out and we can just here's half the names. Start Googling and I'll hand you a laptop.
Okay.
So, I mean, the two of you pretty easily find a bunch of social media profiles, things like that, for the names that attended the encounter group. Apart from Elias Barbas, none of them. There's nothing particularly distinctive about any of them. To the extent they have public social media, public Facebook pages and things like that, they seem like a pretty ordinary and random selection of locals. Barbas, like now that you're trying to sort of making more of an effort to like dig in, doesn't seem to have any public-facing social media apart from the LinkedIn profile. So no Facebook or Twitter or anything like that.
Felix, you know what that means.
He's respectable.
No, he's posting on 4chan.
Oh dear.
You can't trust somebody who only has a LinkedIn profile. That's sociopathy.
Okay. Do we want to look on 4chan?
God, if he's posting on 4chan, actually, he probably is the kind of asshole who'd like put his name on 4chan instead of just like posting.
So you definitely are not gonna. You don't find any other accounts that you can link to his name or identity.
Nothing else we can link to his LinkedIn.
No, nothing else connected to his LinkedIn except, I guess, probably a Boston Police Department email address.
Interesting. Are there any records that we can find? Like I'm looking at like licensing records, certifications, disciplinary records from like board disciplinary actions for his role as a doctor.
Yeah. So I think that sort of thing, you'll be able to find that he studied. Sorry, he went back to school about 20 years ago, did a graduate degree in forensic medicine. He was already a cop at that point, so he took some time out from the force, did the graduate diploma degree. Sorry, I'm not sure exactly the nature of the degree, and went back to working for the police in forensics. So he's never practiced as a doctor per se in the general practice sense or anything like that.
Any misconduct allegations? Any court filings challenging evidence? Anything like that?
Not that. So there's no like public records about any of that. You can tell me if there's a way that you're going to try and like dig up internal police documents, but there's no like news reports or anything like that.
That would be hacking. I'm not sure I want to dig into hacking. But the way that I would probably do it is doing a search on his name in the court system to find all cases in which he testified as an expert witness and see what he testified to and what the final disposition of the case was.
Okay. I mean, that's going to take like a good few hours of work. Are you okay with that?
What else are we going to do? We got to wait for the papers.
All right. So, I mean, essentially what you establish is that there's nothing particularly strange about the evidence that he's given. He's given fairly routine, or at least, what appears to be pretty routine evidence. It's rarely been challenged with any notable success by defense attorneys. It seems consistent with someone who's worked at a, fairly high level as a forensic examiner for the police. He seems to be a good worker, is basically what you're getting out of this.
Okay. I think with that, I'll just kind of like sit back and maybe close my laptop and look at Felix, and it's like, you got any other ideas right now?
I mean, I guess the other thing that becomes clear from all of this is that he has been working as a forensic examiner for the police, and that makes it even stranger to you that he met with patients at a psychiatric hospital. There's no obvious professional reason why he would have been doing that.
Did he testify in, like, were there any court cases that they were involved in that he testified for? Or is there absolutely no connection?
There's no connection that you can find between him and the patients, or the missing patients.
Okay. Or the patients that he was signed in to visit?
So that did include the 4 patients that are missing.
Was it only those 4?
He definitely met with other patients at the hospital.
Did he meet with bail?
Yeah, I think he did.
Did he ever contact Semagina? Or do we know
So
if they had any
there's no
extra
records
access?
about that. Sorry, I think that what we established last time is that his paper logins, his signatures on the visiting sheet don't specify a patient that he was visiting, which is a bit
Okay.
unusual. Most of the visiting records do show who somebody was visiting.
I mean, the ones missing, one was FBI and one was DEA, so it's possible he met them at some point. Whereas the Air Force captain and the Marine, probably less likely.
You know, Felix, at this point, if your agent contact wants to put a bullet through our heads, at least to put it into this headache.
So I think that, having spent the day working through these files, you get a call to pick up the fake IDs and documents. But, it's early evening by the time that happens. So you're welcome to, I guess the police department probably is still open, so you can call them with the ID or visit them if you want.
Roughly what time is it?
Let's say 6 p.m.
Yeah, I'm not going to. Like people, I mean, it's one of those things where you could leave a message, but it'd be better to do it in the morning during, normal business hours, like call at 9 or 10 a.m. I don't know if this guy works the night shift or something like that, but if he's doing forensic investigation, he's probably maintaining something close to a normal schedule, especially considering that he's like going to cult support group meetings at night.
Yeah. So at the minute, we've got the fake IDs. We can go and talk to the doctor. That's it. That's kind of our only lead left, unless the other two come back with something from research.
Yeah, and we've got.
Well, you have a home address for agent for what was the name?
Barbas.
Yeah.
I mean, we're supposed to meet Agent Bart tonight, correct?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Okay, that's the next night. So, Shane, I'm not asking for information, but is the conversation with Barbara something that will be noteworthy enough that the other two, that Mark and Brandon, should be here for it?
I
don't
think there's a straightforward answer. Yes, it's potentially.
Okay.
But I mean, we talked about finishing up early today, so maybe this is a good spot to pause.
We've got the fake IDs. We're ready to.
Yeah,
we've done work.
We've done legwork. We've made progress, but it's not progress that like kind of like blocks the other two from participating. Or
yeah.
All right. So I'll end the recording here, and we'll do some stars and wishes.